First, we are introduced to a brutal and bloody arena, a battleground reserved only for women. But the contestants here are not ordinary women. They are the finest fighters from different parts of the world, with trained bodies and captivating appearances. Every brutal strike that lands in the fight makes the men surrounding the arena scream even louder in hysteria. Among all the fighters, there's one blonde girl who stands out the most. At first, she only joined by accident, but make no mistake, she's a dangerous opponent. What's even more surprising is that just 3 months earlier, this girl was nothing more than an ordinary hotel waitress named Jane. Because of her beauty and attractive figure, she was often harassed by thugs who wanted to take advantage of her. But that was a huge mistake. When a man tried to touch her, Jane quickly fought back.
What would you like to eat?
In a little pocket.
Fire! Hey! Oh, hey! Come on, get him up! Get him up! Get him up! Pack up your stuff, Jane. I don't want you back here.
This became the third job she lost in a single month because she could never hold herself back when treated unfairly. The man Jane beat up couldn't accept the humiliation, so he and his gang waited for her in the parking lot to ambush her. But Jane was not someone who could be easily pushed around. She stood her ground and kicked the man's vital area provocatively, then proceeded to beat up anyone in the gang who dared to approach. She even caught one man trying to run away and knocked him out cold. Jane's courage wasn't without reason. Since childhood, she had trained martial arts with her father. More than 10 years ago, her father, a fighter, had traveled to Hong Kong to participate in a competition. But from that moment on, he disappeared without a trace. Deep in her heart, Jane always carried the worry about her father's disappearance. Now, as she had grown tougher, she decided to pack her belongings and travel to Hong Kong, determined to uncover the reason behind her father's disappearance.
I'm leaving, Mama.
Where are you going, honey?
Hong Kong.
After saying goodbye to her mother, she set off for Hong Kong. But as a newcomer in a foreign city, Jane had no idea of the danger awaiting her.
What's the matter, lady? Where are you going?
I'm looking for a youth hostel.
For a trip, this is very nice. Follow me. Come on.
As soon as she got off the bus, a group of local thugs tricked her and dragged her to a deserted place. Jane realized they only wanted to rob her, so she immediately fought back.
This is the youth hostel?
No, it's my land.
She managed to fend off several of them, but they were too many and she couldn't handle them all alone. At that moment, a woman noticed the injustice happening on the street and stepped in to help Jane. In a daze, Jane only caught a glimpse of the woman defeating the thugs before everything went black. When she regained consciousness, Jane found herself in a temple. The woman who had saved her turned out to be Master Shu, a member of the Wudong sect branch in Hong Kong.
I wanted to thank you.
So go back to bed.
During her recovery, Jane diligently worked at the temple, cleaning without complaint, even showing compassion for a dead bird. All of this was noticed by Master Shu. 5 years earlier, Master Shu had participated in an underground tournament. In the final match, she faced a female disciple of Shaolin. Their fight was intense and ended without a clear winner. But because her opponent refused to share the prize fairly according to the organizer's decision, it was settled that both sides must each find a female student to represent them in the next tournament, in order to determine who is truly superior.
Very well. Bye.
For almost 5 years, Shu searched for the right female student. Now, with only 3 months left before the competition, Jane happened to appear at her place. Jane's true goal was indeed to join the competition, but with her fighting ability at that time, she was clearly not the disciple Shu was looking for. If Jane were to join, what awaited her was only death. Hearing this, Jane intended to leave, but Shu then decided to follow fate. She said if Jane could save a dying little bird, she would accept her as a disciple and let her join the competition. With her martial skills, Shu performed a complex Wudong technique, channeling energy into the bird's body, and to Jane's astonishment, the small bird came back to life and flew away. Though it seemed real, it was only an illusion, but from that moment on, Shu began training Jane. This marked the beginning of 3 months of special training. As the saying goes, shaky legs mean shaky martial arts. So the first step for Jane was to practice her stance every day, rain or shine, starting from the moment she opened her eyes in the morning. For a beginner, the training was extremely difficult. But after 2 months of hard practice, Jane's Wudong Kung Fu improved drastically. Her strength also increased, though she was still far from Master Shu's level, as she couldn't even ring the large temple bell with one hand. Meanwhile, at the Shaolin Martial Arts School, a mysterious girl appeared. She entered the training hall arrogantly and challenged 10 people at once. One tall, muscular female student tried to fight her, but was immediately overwhelmed by the girl's extraordinary strength, clearly lacking real combat experience. At that moment, the Shaolin side realized this mysterious girl was the perfect candidate for their replacement disciple. The girl, named Ling, was a wanderer. She was offered a place to stay, food, and 3 months of training, with the promise that even experienced fighters would not be able to defeat her once she was trained. Ling accepted the offer, and 3 months quickly passed.
We use whatever work. At the heart of my work, the essence of martial arts is learning how to use that strength and speed to strike the enemy.
The underground tournament, held once every 5 years, finally began. The contestants were chosen female fighters from all over the world, each one a ruthless character. After signing a death waiver, the matches officially started. Jane's first opponent was a Taekwondo fighter. Her kicking ability was no doubt impressive. Under the barrage of consecutive kicks, Jane faltered, giving her opponent a chance to land a powerful punch like an electric cannon. But Jane took a deep breath, calmed herself, and began controlling the rhythm of her opponent's attacks. In truth, Jane's ability was much better. It was only that in her first match, she was stiff. Once she found her rhythm, Jane managed to kick her opponent out of the arena and won the fight.
Shoo. Breathe. Observe. Learn.
On the other side, a muscular female fighter stepped into the ring. Her body was so massive, she looked more masculine than a man, but her opponent was just a calm-looking girl. Unexpectedly, with a single punch, the calm girl knocked out the giant fighter. Match after match went on, each fighter displaying their unique strengths. Jane truly felt the tension of the arena, especially when a ruthless fighter named Seta appeared. Even when her opponent was already down, she kept striking mercilessly, kicking her opponent's head until severely injured. The last fight of the day was Ling from Shaolin against a fighter from Israel. With her real combat ability, Ling quickly knocked her opponent out of the ring, closing the first round. The winners had time to rest, but Jane did not stay idle. She went looking for the thugs who had stolen her wallet. With the skills she had learned, she beat them mercilessly and managed to retrieve her father's photo.
I don't even care if you stole my money. I just want my
Ronnie.
pictures back. It's you.
You mean this? Bye-bye.
But her actions were witnessed by Master Shu. The teacher was furious because the skills she taught had been used for beating up thugs, so Jane was expelled and no longer considered her student. Lost in confusion, Jane looked at her father's photo. She found a business card from the tournament organizer she had met earlier in the arena. Jane went to meet the man named Sang, a tournament organizer, and showed him her father's photo. Sang recognized Jane's father and said that 10 years ago he had indeed joined the tournament, but suddenly disappeared before the final match. When Jane wanted to know more, Sang refused to explain.
Sorry to hear that. I wonder what happened to him. Don't recall. I doubt it.
The next day, the second round began, this time with weapon battles. As soon as the gong rang, the first fight began. A fighter in white with a spear dominated the arena against an opponent armed with nunchaku. Nunchaku was only effective at close range, while the spear pushed its opponent back. But suddenly, the nunchaku user reversed the situation, counterattacked, and knocked the man in white out of the arena. Jane's turn came against an opponent wielding a large sword. She chose a similar weapon. The fight was fierce, and Jane was pushed back by her opponent's superior strength. But she exploited an opening, slashed his back, and beat him down. While he was still dazed, Jane kicked him unconscious and eventually won.
Weapon round 2. Winner.
The next fight was Seta against Cassidy, Jane's new friend. Seta arrogantly threw away her sword. With just one punch, she broke Cassidy's arm, then beat her brutally. When Cassidy tried to surrender by crawling out of the arena, Seta instead drew her sword and slit her throat, killing her right in front of Jane. Her only friend died tragically, leaving Jane shattered and devastated.
Hey, Doctor!
Worse, Jane's next opponent was Seta. Though terrified, Jane tried to calm herself. Ling, at the same time, fought fiercely in the semifinals and won. Now it was Jane's turn to face Seta. With eyes full of determination, Jane tried to stay calm, facing her opponent's brutal attacks. She was knocked down and beaten mercilessly. Everyone thought Jane was dead, but she rose again. This time she attacked ferociously, pounding Seta relentlessly until her opponent was helpless and finally defeated.
Mr. Cassidy.
Back in the waiting room, Sang appeared and revealed that 10 years ago Jane's father also made it to the final, but was killed by him in order to win a bet. Now he wanted to repeat it with Jane, but seeing her too weak, he postponed his plan. Gravely injured, Jane went to Master Shu, begging to be healed so she could avenge her father's death. At first, Shu refused, but then she remembered the old saying in the photo left by Jane's father, which read that what the devil needs most is to make good people turn astray. Shu realized that this time she could not let Sang win. She healed Jane overnight, and the next morning accompanied her as coach in the final.
You're right, Jane.
She's crazy. She healed.
When Sang saw Jane had recovered, he panicked. The final began, Jane versus Ling.
Ready? Ready?
Because of her severe injuries, Jane could only defend herself, constantly beaten without being able to strike back. Everyone thought she would lose until she saw the vision of her father encouraging her. Jane stood up, forgot her pain, and launched a counterattack. Blow after blow she delivered, until finally a decisive kick sent Ling flying into the water. Jane became the champion. Sang panicked and tried to escape, but was caught.
You said my bets were safe. You know the rules, Mr. Sang.
All his crimes were revealed, including his involvement in the death of Shu's relative. But killing Sang would change nothing, so he was handed over to the authorities. The long-standing feud between Wudong and Shaolin finally ended. The two sects reconnected, and they began recruiting more students to train together. At this point, the story comes to an end. In every battle, the hardest fight is not defeating the opponent in front of you, but conquering the fear and weakness within yourself.